Hello and welcome to this review of NEO GEO Arcade 3 for Evercade. This is another 6-game collection of arcade titles that ran on the NEO GEO hardware, and it comes with the usual card for social media tags and a full colour booklet inside the box, but again there are no stickers or other extras here. As I've mentioned in previous videos, 6 games does seem a little skimpy for this collection, but with that in mind, let's see if the quality of the games here will win me over. First up is Ghost Pilots, which is a top-down, vertically scrolling shooter, very much like 1942 from Capcom, which owners of certain Evercade platforms will be very familiar with. On the one hand, I like the honesty and simplicity of this offering, as it's rather no frills. You get a fire button mapped to A, and mercifully there's a quick fire button mapped to Y, which is probably not authentic to the original home release, but is certainly welcome, as all you do is hammer the fire button otherwise. You also have a bomb button, and you can choose what kind of special bomb you would like to use, including a later option of landmines, which at first look like you can place them at will, but actually turn out to be placed automatically around your craft. The resulting explosion acts a lot like Atari's missile command, absorbing incoming fire while also damaging the enemy. There are some large bosses, but there's nothing anywhere near as grand or impressive as those in Capcom's 1944 The Loop Master, nor Gunbird 2, the latter of which I've played on my channel, so do check that out if you want more like this. The graphics are nicely detailed and run smoothly, with that classic arcade chunkiness and feel, but overall it's not as impressive as I perhaps expected. Still, a perfectly playable pocket shooter for your Evercade EXP or Super Pocket, and a good fit for the Evercade Alpha too. Next up is King of Fighters 97, which is a stone-cold classic in the one-on-one fighting genre, and it holds up really well today. With advanced systems spread across 2 selectable game styles, there's loads to learn if you want to put the time in. If you're a newbie and have been known to throw the odd Hadouken in your time, you should still enjoy this a great deal thanks to a huge character roster, excellent sprite work, good animations, and gorgeous backgrounds. Fighting at what looks like the Lowe's hairpin at the Monaco Grand Prix racetrack is just so cool, though some of the backgrounds are so rich in detail they can make the main characters difficult to follow, especially those with teleportation moves. It sounds fantastic, looks wonderful, and plays perfectly. This is a fantastic reason to buy this collection. And that's before we've even got on to Metal Slug 3, which completes the initial trilogy of Metal Slug games, and it's on yet another separate cartridge, with the first 2 appearing on NEO GEO Arcade 1 and 2. No matter, I can see why this has been included here with these games, as it complements the lineup perfectly. As one of the later NEO GEO releases, this came out in 2000, at a time when other home consoles had already surpassed the capabilities of the NEO GEO hardware despite its price. That meant the game had to use imagination to impress, and it does pretty well at that. Becoming a zombie, complete with the rather disgusting vomit attack, is really cool, and you can occasionally save other characters who fight alongside you temporarily. The underwater section is reminiscent of In the Hunt on IREM Arcade 1, which of course was developed by members of the Metal Slug team, so that makes perfect sense. The gameplay here is varied, and there are route choices too, which the first 2 games didn't have as much. The game runs noticeably better than Metal Slug 2, but with just as much detail, though there are still some moments of pretty severe slowdown. With impressive graphical effects and more enjoyable bosses, this is a great addition to Evercade's library and makes 3 for 3 so far on this cartridge in terms of strong games that fit the hardware. Surely it can't be a perfect sweep, can it? Next we have Super Sidekicks. It's a sports title with a rather romanticised take on the football or soccer game if you're American. It's a pity they didn't include Super Sidekicks 2 or 3 instead, as those games are demonstrably superior to the original, but even so, an arcade football game is always welcome, especially when it plays as well as this. You do only get international teams, and the game is clearly trying to recreate the glory, romance and spectacle of the World Cup. As such, you get an ace player on each team, and getting the ball to them is supposed to be the key to victory. Doing so isn't always so easy, as players can get pulled out of position quite easily. It's not a realistic simulation of the sport by any means, but it plays very well, and goals do feel really great, especially when you manage to pull level even with a scrappy goal. The celebratory screens are nicely drawn, and some of the cutaway shots are unintentionally humorous, especially when a player shows his anguish at being injured. Poor chap. Anyway, with 4 games down, that's 4 different genres and all good. And yes, there is a fifth different genre, as Twinkle Star Sprites here offers a sort of puzzle shooter, which combines elements of Puzzle Bobble and Puyo Puyo with an aesthetic reminiscent of Pop and Twinbee on Super Nintendo. It's bright and cheerful and involves popping enemies in chain attacks. You can send enemies into your opponent's screen, Puyo Puyo style, but the twist here is that these sent enemies can be shot back at you. You have a bomb button as a last resort if things get too hectic, and you can even summon a boss character to go after your opponent. The story scenes are pretty wacky, and it's cool that one character knows how many continues you've used and praises you appropriately. There is, however, a lot of slowdown, which is very disappointing. If ever Evercade needed an overclocking option, it's on this. But even so, I actually had more fun with this than many of the other games on this cartridge. It's crazy. Anyway, that's 5 for 5 in terms of good and unique games. So what's the last one? Disappointment. It's another one-on-one fighting game. We could have had the perfect Evercade cartridge here, but nonetheless, this is another classic fighter, Samurai Showdown 2. First impressions aren't great. It looks distinctly older than the other games here, perhaps due to the more cartoony 2D sprites. However, it does play very well. It's a much less flowing fighting game than its peers, though the way it tells you how to activate each character's power move at the bottom of the screen is really useful. The scaling looks decent, and there are destructible elements of scenery in the stages, which is also cool. It's also unusual to see a fighting game with a gruesome end to the fight, but that's what happens here. The sound is strong with excellent vocal samples, and there are some decent special moves in here too. It is clunky by today's standards, but it's certainly solid, and there are plenty of varied characters to play as. Not bad at all. So there they are, 6 games, 5 of which are a pretty awesome spread of game styles, and all with a high bar of quality. It's difficult to say it represents great value for money when you can get the NEO GEO Super Pocket for around the cost of 2 cartridges, which is a console itself that will play other Evercade cartridges and has 14 NEO GEO games built in. Even so, I have to say that this cartridge is one of the best all-round cartridges that you can buy for Evercade in total. So in terms of playability, gameplay variation, visuals, sound, and overall quality, this is a really strong offering. Most carts have 1 or 2 great games, but this has 5, some would argue 6. I'm not going to be raving about this from the rooftops, hence not a straight 5 out of 5, but you could easily just keep this cartridge in your Evercade and always have something enjoyable to play, which is hard not to recommend. So I give this 4.5 out of 5. Excellent stuff. So that's a turn up for the books, one of the best all-round Evercade cartridges. Third time lucky indeed. Check out my Evercade playlist for more Evercade reviews, and please hit like and subscribe. I'm also up for you buying me a coffee with the super thanks button, that would be grand. Well, take care until next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.